What's up, everybody?
Hey guys, welcome back to Dice Checks. As always, I'm Zen, this is good old,
More.
and welcome back. It's been a little bit, but we're about to get back into it. We hope you had an amazing break over the time. For those starting back college, have fun. So, what are we talking about today, Morvar?
Interesting characters.
Awesome. Sit back, roll initiative, because we're about to discuss what exactly is an interesting character. See you in a bit.
Roll that.
Sit back and roll initiative, because we're about to get into it. Welcome back!
Oh, okay.
So, what exactly makes an interesting character? Well, before I guess we break it down, what are some of your favorite interesting characters?
In D&D or just like in fiction in general?
Both. Let's break it down. Let's start with fiction before we get into D&D. Let's just encompass everything.
Well, I'm just gonna say this just because in light of like the latest movie coming out, Kylo Ren from Star Wars. To me, he's. I know a lot of people don't think so, and I know a lot of people don't really like the new trilogy.
Possible spoiler alert too.
But to me, he's the classic example of a character with conflict.
Ooh.
I mean, he's not a very deep character, but I feel like in Star Wars you don't need to be a very deep character in order to leave an impact. Because I mean, Matt Colville once said and again, take a shot every time that he makes mention Matt Colville. Matt Colville, we love you. But anyway, I'm gonna have to tweet this to him later. But anyway,
love us.
Notice us. Anyway, so. But yeah, a character doesn't have to be necessarily super deep for Star Wars just to get the message across. And in the case of Kylo Ren, where he has inherent baggage, I don't know if I should say this or not for people that haven't. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
but,
just try to sand the edges of the spoiler.
But he has a interesting family. Let me just say that. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. And he has to make choices that he knows he has to, but you can see in his face that he's not super comfortable with those choices.
That hesitation.
Yeah.
And
I've said this once, and I'll say it again here. He's Anakin Skywalker from the prequels done right, because he's. First of all, he's a good ass actor, so you can really see it in his face. And I'm going way too on with this guy, but trust me, that's my pick. So what's your pick?
Singling down to one is tricky. I've always liked the archetype of the rogue character, not necessarily the thief or actual D&D rogue, but the one who is okay with sometimes being the bad guy, or better yet, is always the one who's trying to lighten the mood with humor. It's actually one of the reasons I'm really attached to Spider-Man in the Marvel series. It's because Spider-Man always... I
was just not thinking about that.
Always will make light of the situation. And actually, if you break it down, Spider-Man is an interesting choice to pick. I'm going to go on a rant and pick two.
Yeah.
But, But I like Spider-Man as a character because he has that, yet he also has one of the most tragic upbringings. Every single person has eventually died that he's gotten close to.
Yeah.
Even if you've seen the movies or read the comics, you know that Uncle Ben is almost always dead. Pretty much. A lot of times Gwen Stacy dies. In some icons, Mary Jane dies. Death is very, very close to Spider-Man, so it's fascinating that he's one of the more upbeat characters.
Speaking of which, this kind of doesn't relate to it, but I just thought it was interesting. In some universes, Gwen Stacy is Spider-Man.
Oh, that's also true. That is true. Spider-Man.
I love that.
I haven't gotten into that one yet.
But anyway, digressions everywhere.
From other, let's go video games for a second. I'm also a big fan of The Witcher, which anybody who's played The Witcher automatically knows exactly what I'm talking about, probably. But I love how Witcher has this very serious atmosphere, but the characters have this honest humanity about them where they're not always serious.
Right.
Even Geralt, who has the most serious sounding voice in the entire universe, who, I mean, really and truly will give a cowboy movie a run for its money and gruff. He has these moments of honest humanity where even his voice, you can see there's a softness in him, voice be damned. And that, I love those touches of humanity like that. And it's just fun. I love fun characters. I love it when they have fun.
For me, it's kind of hard to narrow down who one of my favorite characters in video games is, but
yeah, I just picked from a list with Geralt.
Honestly, and again, I'm probably gonna get some weird looks for this, but I'd honestly say Master Chief from Halo, because
you and me grew up playing Halo, and I know your thoughts on this already, so I can kind of see where you're going with this. But please tell the audience we're the guy who never talks.
Yeah, but just hear me out for a second here. Okay, so for those of you who haven't really read the novels or read any of the lore stories or whatever, Master Chief was first of all, he was basically trained from a very young age to be the ultimate killing machine, and we get very sparse hints of what his motivation is as a character. Again, it goes back to Kylo Ren. He's not a very deep character, but he doesn't necessarily need to be in this story that he's being told in for. But what really cements his character as one of my favorite character archetypes, or just characters in video games in general, is the fact of what he's willing to do for someone that he truly cares about. And spoiler for Halo 4, but he loses Cortana, and we actually hear him genuinely get distressed over it, which is something super rare. And again, he's not the most deep or well-rounded character in video games ever, but just off the top of my head, that's just what I think of. But he's a very subtle character.
One more that I think we can both agree on, because now let's just go to animes and cartoons and whatnot. The Airbender Avatar characters, all of them.
Yeah.
All of them, especially, I'm a big fan of also the characters of Redemption, like Zuko in this case. I'm a big fan of those as well. So all of those are just interesting, fascinating to delve into.
I haven't watched Avatar: The Last Airbender all the way through yet.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's switch this back into D&D for a minute. Well, there's a pretty select variance of I like this character from this. You'd have to watch a lot of different D&D series who are just recently in the last, I'd say, 3, 4, 5 years, really starting to really kind of show up. So this is probably going to be a lot to Critical Role and those kind of levels of big. Critical, by the way, props to them, have just massively blown up to the point of it being amazingly cool and outrageous.
Just to kind of digress a little bit here once again, because we haven't digressed enough on this episode.
Yeah.
But I just want to take a moment to talk about the fact of if Critical Role, if Geek and Sundry wouldn't have done Critical Role with the people that they did it with, let's all be honest here, the community wouldn't be nearly as widespread and all-encompassing as it is.
Freaking massive. Actually, I watched their intro, their new season.
It's so good.
And 90,000 people were watching.
Yeah.
That's insane for
That's a lot
4
of
hours
D&D
on
nerds.
Twitch.
That's a lot of D&D.
They have billboards of Critical Role in California.
Really?
Yeah, there's 2 of them in, I think, Los Angeles. Don't quote me on that.
That is badass.
I know, right? That's what I'm talking about. And that's what you're talking about.
Are they in the attire from the trailer?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're in the old school look.
Oh my god.
And they're all regretting it because they didn't realize those outfits were going to be on Billboard.
Oh, Sam Riegel's was my favorite.
Yeah. But
Those fucking
that's good though. But let's go and jump into that. Why are Critical Role good examples of interesting characters?
Well, it also helps that everybody that plays Critical Role that's taken part of it in one form or another is an actor.
Mm-hmm.
Most notably, like Will Wheaton, because Star Trek nerd.
Yep. I mean, he did invent some of the major rules for D&D, Wheaton's Law and whatnot.
Yeah.
So he has a big hand.
Which is hanging up there, I think.
Yep. Thank you, Will Wheaton.
But yeah, it also helps the fact that like every last person, well, almost every last person that has been on Critical Role is charismatic as hell.
Oh, totally.
Like it doesn't matter like what they're doing, like everything that they say and do is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even like interested in like what they're saying like to the people off screen, like
yeah. Each one of them are just so into their characters, and they fall in love with their own characters that you can't help
yeah, like the finale, like it felt like the finale of the last, which again spoilers, but
there were some real tears in that.
Yeah, I was like I was genuinely like I felt like I needed a shower after watching that.
And I'm going to take a point from Matt Mercer here. I think they're all interesting because they all have their own flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of those characters in Critical Role are amazingly flawed in a beautifully spectacular way.
Mm-hmm.
There's the obvious one like Grog, who's mechanically flawed in his intelligence. But there's also the more in-depth ones like Percy, who's flawed in personality. He's this person who knows he's brought this great catastrophe invention in this form of guns to his world. But he doesn't care as long as he can get the job done. Mm. And that's fascinating.
And also Marissa Grant's character.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Keyleth. The bumbling, uncharismatic character, at least in D&D, who sprawls into a leader position.
And like what made me think about that was like just the tirade that she goes on against Lady Kima like way at the beginning, because like at first like where you're watching it you're like wow, who turned on the bitch mode, but then like whenever you like the more you watch it the more like you understand like where her character is coming from, and you realize that it is just a character, it's not her.
Oh no,
herself.
All of those people are beautifully awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, you do any little bit of research outside of the Critical Role group, and they're all amazingly good people who put so much to the community and for the world itself. Yeah. So thank you for that, by the way. Y'all happen to doubtfully watch this. Let's just say hi to everybody. Let's just reference everything and everybody.
Yeah.
But another thing is also love. I'm going to be very careful not to spoil it because it's very new. Like their new season is very fascinating characters, and I love that they purposely did all things different. Mm-hmm. None of them are the same. Some of them did this stark opposite. Mm-hmm. Their accents are just so wonderfully investing. This is a minor spoiler, but I'm just going to say somebody throws on a very seductive southern drawl. And wow. But it's really fascinating if you look at it from that point of view. The amount of that. And I'm very curious. I can't wait for there to be hard copy versions of the Critical Role comics.
Yeah.
That good old Matt Colville's making. Because I really want to see that in a writing format.
Yeah.
How that's going to work out. Because I've read bits and pieces, and it looks phenomenal.
Just Lord knows it'd be a lot simpler and easier to read the Critical Role series than to watch, how many episodes are in the last season?
100-ish?
100 and... It's like 100 and... It's like in the 120s, I think, isn't it?
It's about a week's worth of binging.
And more than that, because every single episode is like 4 or 5 hours long.
Yeah.
So well, like,
that's why they have podcasts now.
You watch 2 episodes and like your day's gone.
Yeah, that's why they have podcasts now.
Yeah.
So you can just watch and do other things. But that's a good one. One I didn't think about that I want to touch back to, and it reminded me because a lot of the Critical Role groups have had an interest with this video game, and it's a very personal video game, and you probably can guess which one I'm leading up to. Another thing with interesting characters is actually Fire Emblem. For those who might have heard of it. If you follow Critical Role, you probably know Matt Mercer's got a big one in there. But I like those because the whole point of Fire Emblem is they love to flesh out their characters in the recent games. And that's interesting.
Like 100 million of them.
Yeah, and the fleshing outs can get so beautifully in depth that it's really fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what are some of your favorite characters in D&D that you've played that you found fascinating or seen played, not in a professional standpoint like Critical Role?
That's an interesting.
Well,
one.
we can also top off because I know you haven't had a lot of moments to play. What are some characters that you think would be interesting characters that you'd want to play?
I wouldn't necessarily want to play it, but I just want to see how it works. What was it? A sorcerer that doesn't believe in magic.
Oh, I remember this conversation.
Or
that would be weird, especially a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Because sorcerers are innately magical.
Yeah. And I can't even take credit for that. I saw it like on a shit post on Facebook, and the quote was like, I'm going to throw out this blue energy. You mean magic? No, it's blue energy composed of atoms and particles. But you cast magic.
I remember that. I've only played like 2 characters in D&D, but out of those 2, my favorite was this. And this was I got special permission for this because I was playing a pseudo bad guy in the one shot. It was a doppelganger trickster cleric. Well, trickster clerics for one are just so much fun. Like they're my goodness, they can heal like clerics.
Wait, but you mean doppelganger or changeling?
Doppelganger. Like I said, I got special permission. So I got to play a doppelganger who was a cleric of the trickster domain.
Right.
And it was just so much fun. I could polymorph myself on command, and I portrayed this very bumbling, like almost scared young monk. Not like monk as in like clerical monk. Like he was scared to do anything. He hesitated. But it was really just an entire act. And in fact, to the point where I made a fake character sheet so I could show it off to my co-players. And I had pretty good wisdom, which is obvious. My alignment was not correctly stated.
Yeah.
My skills were not correctly stated. I had the right one for the DM, and I used the right one. But it was just fascinating. And I had really good charisma 19, wisdom 18. And the combat. I could rant on this character all day.
Yeah. Anything I feel like that deals with anything that can change its form is always interesting to play. Like that one character that I wanted to play but never actually got to.
The future one?
Yeah, the changeling rogue that I wanted.
Yeah.
Because just think, a rogue will kill you. Now imagine a rogue that you can't see and you don't know is there. Just imagine how fucking dangerous that is.
That would be really cool. As a DM, I'd want to make it so there's a curse that you are forced polymorphed into anything you kill. And that's why you have to just keep killing to change back into something you want.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Especially if if they consider themselves a lawful good character, but they have that flaw to where
Oh my god, we just made a prototype character. Alex Mercer. Absorb him. But there's a character I'm planning for a one-shot coming up, an elf samurai, who is ordered to die, but doesn't want to kill himself or commit seppuku because he wants to go... He wants to sneeze! He wants to sneeze, ladies and gentlemen. That's all he wants in life, is to just get one good nose booger out. But no. Pardon us.
I'm totally leaving that in, by the way.
Are you good?
Okay.
That sneeze has been going on since we started talking about Critical Role. I've been hiding it. I've been scratching my nose this whole time, hoping I'd kind of sedate it, and then BAM! Okay. But no, the elf samurai doesn't want to do themselves in because they want to go to Celestia and are worried that's going to ruin that. So they're throwing themselves into every single dangerous situation, and it's a madhouse one-shot. So there's nothing but booby traps and outlandish characters, and you're meant to die. So the whole point is he's throwing himself into these actions, these combats, or he will be. And we're gonna see what happens because I don't want to spoil it from other players. Because I just realized this video is gonna come out before that, so can't see that. Anyway, I feel like we've hit this subject pretty good, and this is definitely one I want to put a pin in to come back with because I want to hear other guests' opinions on this.
Definitely.
So maybe we'll come back with this, and then we will both sit out and we'll just have like a giant Q&A.
Yeah, we'll go out and like shove a camera in our friends' faces.
Oh, fun. Okay, but thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and definitely comment. You had fun with this one?
Oh yeah, this was like I wasn't expecting this episode to be as fun as it was.
Just like the sneeze, it was unexpected.
Oh.
Alright. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a day by me. Morvar, take us home. This whole time, they almost